morning. It is Good Friday, first day of spring break, and I woke up this morning about 6:30, got up and made coffee, but it's really nice not to be in a rush. Much needed time this spring break. It's so late this year, but I did before I left school yesterday. I brought some CPBs with me, ones that I kind of pulled out that I wanted to hopefully do some more vlogging this week. This is something I enjoy, and so I want to take some time and do some of these this week while I've got some time. So I think this is episode 22, actually. And so today, this morning, I'm going to feature uh, Maya Tatsukawa. Tatsukawa, I think is how you pronounce her name. She is both the writer and the illustrator, the designer of this book titled Otter Carries On. And I think I'm going to turn this around. So, because this is a book that it is beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. Let's see, I hope that I can get this. This book is just so beautifully designed. Don't know, I don't think I've seen her books before, but I was reading a little bit of her bio included on the book, and she lives outside of Boston. And so she has written, I haven't checked this out yet, but she's got another book called Mole is Not Alone. And this particular one, though, Otter Carries On, this came out earlier this year. So it's relatively new out. And let me show you the end pages, because everything about this book is just, it's gorgeous. It's relaxing. It's a visual treat for the eyes. But look at the end pages here. And I know I'm kind of turning it. I don't know how that's going to work here with the video, but the end pages. So it's set on this ocean. These are sea otters. And then look at the last end pages. So very much the same, except what has changed is you see the puffin and the otter, and that fits with the story. There are words in this book. Oh, wait, before I show you, let me show you, I showed you the cover, well, the sleeve. I showed you the sleeve, but let me show you the cover. It's the whale with the otter along for the ride. So let me open this up and show you, because the cover was designed very intentionally as a spread. Isn't that gorgeous? Just gorgeous. The colors are so soothing. So very soothing. And if you look here, I was trying to see if she had anything. I think these are watercolors, but I'm going to have to Google and learn a little bit more about her medium. But one of the most just soothing books that of children's picture book, that's the word, is soothing, that I've seen in quite some time. Everything about it is soothing. Even, so let me show you here. Here's the Library of Congress information page. Look at that dedication. And I'm going to show you the title page too. I'm going back here. I'm really loving the palette of colors. I'm really noticing more and more that I do these CPBs where there's just this intentional use of negative space. And it just, as you're reading it, I would describe it as you just feel room and space to just go and just to relax, right? And to kind of stretch out. Um, it's funny, I have a king size bed. I've had a king size bed um, the past uh, really 32 years, 30, almost 35 years actually. And it was a point of contention at different points. Um, with my dad. My dad kept suggesting I didn't need a king size bed through the years. I don't know why it bothers him, but it does. And so I've actually written a poem about it. I wrote a poem, I think it was about 2 years ago, and maybe I'll post that. But he's always like, a single girl doesn't need a king size bed. I don't, again, I'm kind of mystified. You know, he just thinks I need more space, which is that's not incorrect in terms of the space in my bedroom, but or in the house, period. But I love having a king size bedroom. Yes, it does, or king size bed. It does end up having, a lot of stuff, piles and things like that on it, but I do love my king size bed. But because I love to be able to just feel like I can just, sprawl and have room to move and not just a tight little spot. So that's the way this book makes me feel. Like I just have space to just unwind, stretch out, and just let the water carry me. But this particular book is about a sea otter, and this puffin on the very first, where the story picks up, the puffin's like, little otter, there you are. And the sea otter's like, oh, hey, puffin, look what I found. And the puffin's like, a new rock, but it's not too many because, and I'll show you here, the otter is carrying a lot of rocks, right? A lot of rocks, and has been picking them up along the way wherever he's been. And the otter responds to the puff and says, no, I've been carrying them for so long, I'm used to it. And so it goes on. The otter is like, well, or the puffin is like, do you want me to hold some for you? And, oh, no, don't worry, I can still float. Float? What about swimming? How are you going to catch food? The other otters start asking, and they're trying to encourage him, let go of some of these rocks. You're carrying too much. And so the book then ensues about what happens because he's got so many that he can't even really use his arms and his paws because he's holding on to them. And so a storm comes up, but even in the storm, I talked about relaxation, but look at this, it's so well done. The storm is, you obviously see the storm, but and of course the water gets a little bit more wavy, but it's still done in such a way that it's not scary. Okay, so here's the one that's probably the scariest. But I still don't think it's scary. All right, we've got the lightning and you can see the waves, but he's bumping and going along. And he gets out to sea, he gets out where, in the unknown, and he loses one of his rocks, and it's about what happens and how he ends up finding his way back. And I just love the extended metaphor going on in this. I love the colors, I love the palette, I love the extended metaphor and the deep resonating idea that we all have times when we need other people to help us carry burdens. And a lot of times burdens can accrue and we don't even realize it. We don't even realize sometimes what all we're calling or carrying. And so I think that not only does this just speak to me in terms of the color palette, and it just invites me, it doesn't even just give me permission, it invites me to just let go, to relax in the space, to sprawl out, even when, it gets a little bit stormy and the winds are kind of carrying me in the waves, that I'll be able to make it back home. And so I think, it's for me, but I'm also going to use this. I was thinking about this morning about how could you use this with the students? I mean, we could definitely have a discussion about what do we carry. I think I would start off with some journaling and invite students to just even maybe physically list in their journals what are the rocks, what are the things that sometimes too that you don't typically pick up things that you're not drawn to, like, ooh, I love this rock, and then you pick it up, and when does it shift from being something that has brought you pleasure to something that we don't even realize sometimes is actually become a weight and a burden. I think some exploration there, and then when would be warranted. And then I think the idea of we like to be independent, and there are many times that we try to be independent, and then we've got to get to a place that we acknowledge and say, "Oh, I could use a friend now. Help me." And so I think this would be a great one to have do some journaling and then maybe to move into some writing a little bit more formal, whether it was poetry, whether it was prose. Haven't figured that out yet, but when is the right time to let others step in and to help us? And be thinking about what is some literature, high school literature that this could connect to easily? The need for friend, the need for burden. I mean, I'm thinking of Mice and Men is one thing I'm thinking of, to help carry each other's burdens. But I'm going to keep thinking about that because I just think that would warrant some connections with other pieces and to do some writing. I think also I would spend time getting students in terms of using this in a way as a mentor text for their own CPB work to get them to think about the color palettes. I almost think, and this is just me thinking out loud here, I just had the thought pop up, but I wonder with their CPBs if there could be a step where they thought about the tone of their drafting and the tone that they're hoping to strike. And I wonder if it would be some room for color work where they would do some strips. Or I know, like, one of the cool things, and I can't think of the term for it, but I learned when I was taking watercolor lessons a couple years ago, was learning about making your little, like, if you're going to paint something, playing with the watercolors and getting kind of your color palette, the colors that you were going to be using in it. And I think that might be a nice step, not to say that every student has to use watercolors, but it might be a step of getting them to think very, very intentionally, very concretely, what are the colors? Maybe before they're even imagining what the illustrations will be. What are the colors that you would use to try to hit those tones? And this might play in as well to tone words. Some vocabulary work with that. So I'm going to continue to think this through, but I just really like the intentional design. The visual is going on. It is such not just a treat, but it just a relaxation. It's like a spa. It's like a spa treatment for my eyes as I'm reading this. And so I really like this spa treatment. I went guess it was 2 summers ago. I had my very first spa treatment. I went to the AP conference out in Seattle, Washington in July of, 2023. Soon it'll be 2 years ago. I got accepted and I made a presentation at the AP conference, and that in itself was just a really cool thing that I'd wanted to do and was able to check off my bucket list. But while I was there, the hotel that I was staying in, because I was there, I think it was, I guess it was maybe 4 nights. I treated myself to a spa treatment. There was a massage, a spa there in the hotel. And so what was really nice about that is I could just literally leave the spa and then just get on the elevator and go up to my room. And that was so nice to be so close. I was so relaxed. One of the most relaxing things I've ever done. I might have to think about trying to get a spa later this summer. I mean, a massage. But anyway, that that was my first and hopefully not my last experience at a spa, but I really think this is like a spa treatment for the eyes and even for the spirit a little bit. Makes me just want to breathe deeply, slowly, and just unwind my muscles and let go of so much of the rocks. I might even think about this early on. This might be one that I could come back to more than once, but early on in a class to have them do some rocks, friendship painting on rocks. I know that a lot of people have done things like that, but also the idea of when do those good things, they can become burdens, and do some introspection, but have them there in the somewhere that could be a visual reminder that, hey, we can all be like the otter and pick up and realize at some point that we're carrying too much and that we need to let go. So um, I'm still playing with this idea, but I really love this children's picture book, and Maya Tatsukawa is just a phenomenal artist. So I'm going to check out her other one about the mole. Okay, I hope that you have a blessed Easter. For my teacher friends who are on spring break this next week, breathe, um, treat yourself kindly, take some time to unwind, maybe put some of those rocks down so that you can carry on. Be blessed.